Okay, I think we started. Let me move back. Hello, 510. Today we're going to be planning out the plot of our fantasy text, and it's going to look like this. One, I hope you'll enjoy my very fancy PowerPoint background that I found. I have learned how to upload different types of backgrounds to PowerPoint, as you could tell, or Google Slides. So today we're going to be again planning the plot of our fantasy text. And let me move my screen. To start off, we should just take a zoom out and just think about what actually makes up a fantasy text. And we've been talking about this a little bit as a group. And the first thing to know is just that a fantasy text is made up of strictly fiction. There can be talking animals, made up animals, whether they're extinct or they don't exist in the first place. There can be magic, things with magic powers, magical places, magical things like objects and monsters, aliens, dinosaurs. You can think about some books that we've already heard or read in the past. Lots of us have been reading Harry Potter or read Harry Potter, and those have a lot of these things in it. When we do our pre-writing for fantasy, we're going to work our way through these things today. We're going to think about our characters, our problem, why it's a problem. There's going to be some failed solutions to our problem, and eventually a resolution and a lesson learned. A really big part of fantasy that I think a lot of times students miss is that there's a lesson learned at the end of fantasy texts. Oops. So the first thing we're going to do today is watch this amazing story called The Paper Bag Princess and just think about the themes that you see and think about the lesson learned in this story. You can watch it by just clicking here, or you can literally just search up Paper Bag Princess on YouTube or Google and it'll pop up with a reading of the story. If you're watching this, pause it and go watch that. Then come back.
This is the Paper Bag Princess.
Now that you've seen The Paper Bag Princess, I want you to take a look at planning for fantasy. Now, I just talked about that we're going to think about all these different things that go into a fantasy text, and today we're actually going to put them into play. So we're going to think of a problem, we're going to create a character who has that problem, we're going to describe why that problem even matters, why should the reader care about it, what obstacles hold your character back from solving the problem, list of attempts made to solve the problem, then you're going to create a critical turning point and show what will happen next. Now, once you have all these steps, you can easily plug them into this chart. Somebody had to, who's your character, because why did your character have to do whatever they had to do? But what obstacles did they have? So, what did they do to overcome? However, any other problems that popped up or challenges, and eventually how they solved it. This is pretty much how your story is going to go, and this is pretty much how most fantasy stories go. Think about The Paper Bag Princess. I don't want to give it away in case you haven't watched the whole thing yet, which hopefully you have. But there's definitely a problem, a character who has to solve the problem, some obstacles that arrive in her way, and finally she overcomes this problem in a pretty cool way. There's also lots of role reversals and different types of little themes that are present throughout The Paper Bag Princess that we'll talk about in a later lesson that you might want to include in your book as you go. That's it for today. Good luck planning the plot of your fantasy story. Let me know if you need any help. See you soon.